Hello, and welcome to the last video I'll probably put out this year. I'm going to be ranking all the anime from 2025 that I watched, obviously, and there's about 47 anime from this year that I ended up watching, and we're going to rank them all today, and we're going to talk about them all. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Hopefully it won't be too long. I don't want it to be too long, because there's a lot of stuff here I can't really go in depth about most of these shows, but I'll just kind of briefly touch on them, my general thoughts. I'm not gonna put try and split this into two parts or anything. I just want to wrap this all up in one video and hopefully leave it at that. So you've got 47 anime that I watched this year. There are a few shows that I didn't watch that I would like to watch. One of them is Food for the Soul. I heard that was quite good. Maybe, is it Watanabe? The Yuri? Maybe that one as well. But for the most part, I watched pretty much everything that I wanted to this year. There's a couple of movies as well that haven't come out on streaming services yet, like the Love Live Nijigasaki movie 2. And I think there's another one, but I can't remember exactly what it was. Oh yeah, it's the I think it's the one based on the manhwa, Yorinji something. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, there's some stuff that just isn't watchable yet, and that's whatever. So yeah, and these are our tiers. I have these two at the bottom that I dropped. One of them that I would have dropped because I just didn't like it and it was boring. Another I dropped, and is one I might revisit or might end up reading the source material. It might have been a season where I was watching a lot of stuff, or I just wasn't feeling it at the time. But maybe after the show actually ended, a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people hyping it up, and a lot of people saying good things. So maybe it's something I do want to come back to. And then we just got the D, C, B, A, S, and of course the Save My Life tier, which is reserved for the really, really good stuff, the stuff that will stick with me forever. Most likely the stuff that I won't ever forget. So yeah, let's just get into it. Let's just look at all the anime here. You're gonna have to bear with me. My mouse is scuffed at the moment, so you might see me dragging these shows and not doing too great a job at bringing them where I want to be. But we'll get there. It won't be too much of a problem. Let's start with Dress Up Darling. Dress Up Darling. Season 2, that is. Yeah, I love season 2 of Dress Up Darling. I think it's a big upgrade on season 1. And it's not because it has less fan service. I think the fan service in season 1 is great. I kind of like the way it's implemented and the way it's integrated into the story. And I don't want to say it's tactfully done because it's not. But it's not it doesn't feel too much. Or it doesn't feel abrasive to the show. It also doesn't go against the show itself as well. There's going to be those sort of moments given, that cosplaying and Gojo's making outfits for Marine. He needs some that stuff that's just going to happen naturally. Not all of it is that abrasive, but that was toned down in season 2, sorry. And we started focusing more on a lot of side characters, but it really felt like the season where Marine, or where Gojo more specifically, sort of realised just how much he loves Marine, and it would have been I think it would have been a really perfect season to end in a confession, but alas, you know how these type of shows go. Production wise as well, the visuals somehow got better for Dress Up Darling, which is really impressive for Cloverworks. It's really quite something that I wasn't expecting. The character movement, the character work, the character animation, the drawings themselves, the layouts. There was a particularly good episode focusing on the guy who dresses up as a girl, the whole school festival arc, one of the best school festival arcs I think I've seen in anime in general. The horror game, the horror game they showed as well was actually terrifying. But no, I really like Dress Up Darling, so I think it was a really, really good show. And it's bordering S. I don't think I can put it in S. I think it's an A. It's near the top of A. But I really enjoyed this show. It's such a life-affirming, soul-affirming, beautiful show that just, like I said, it makes you feel alive. It makes you want to live. It makes you want to be unique. It makes you want to be true to yourself and be passionate about the things you love, wholeheartedly. It's just I don't have anything bad to say about the show. It's just a joy to watch. It really is one of the best rom-coms of the 2020s for sure. But yeah, that's Dress Up season 2, strong start. And let's look at Turkey now. Turkey was for sure a show that came out in 2025. I'm not going to spoil the twist in Turkey if you don't know it. If you know it, you know it. I think when I first saw it, I was a bit disappointed because I thought the original premise was good enough, and I felt like there was some good character stuff going on there. But I reserved my thoughts. I was like, I'm going to be open-minded about this. I'm going to go into this newfound show with an open mind, and I did, and it just wasn't great. It just feels very amateurish, consistently so as well. It sprinkles good ideas here and there, but never really touches upon them meaningfully. And I don't think the voice acting is that great either, weirdly. Visually, it's not good at all. It's really unpleasant on the eyes. It's like this weird filter or like grainy art style that just doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. And this show was disappointing. I respect its ambitions, but it's not a good show, and it's one of the few on this list that I kind of saw out to the end and just didn't like that much, so it's going in D, unfortunately. It's one of the worst shows of the year. It's not the worst, there is some shows worse than this, for various reasons, but yeah, Turkey wasn't great. Let's move on to something airing this season. I know the Japanese name Egao no Teanai Shokubo Desu, and it is a weird mangaka something. A mangaka's weirdly wonderful workplace. And this is written by Kuzushiro, who, if you don't know, has written The Moon on a Rainy Night, and was getting an anime adaptation. And my personal favourite work from her, Living Life with My Brother's Wife, which is, I know the title sounds a bit but there's some seriously really good stuff there, and it's finished. It's one of the best mangas I've read. I've reread it as well. Really beautiful manga. It's one of the best I've read. And I only ended up watching this because it was Kuzushiro that has written this. This one's much more comedic focused, and it's a bit hit or miss at times. Production wise, there's nothing going on. There is nothing even remotely interesting going on with this show's production. It can be really boring to look at. Art style isn't the best, very bland. There's not exactly any strong drawings at any point. But the voice acting's really fun. The voice acting's really good. Has Miku Ito voicing one of the main characters, and she's great. And is it Amamiya, the voices Nazuna and Call of the Night and Aqua and Chizuru meant to girlfriend, that voice actress, you know who I mean. She's in it as well, she's great. The voice acting's really good, and the comedy is fun. It's a fun show. It's not anything crazy, it's not anything to write home about, but I think it's a fun show, and it does a good job. I'm interested to see how it works in how it is in the manga, because Kuzushiro's art style is great, and this doesn't seem to capture the art style very well, but it's a nice show. I think it's worth watching if you kind of want some Yuri comedy. It's not completely. It definitely is Yuri, but it doesn't completely lean into it. But it's very evident all these girls are gay. But that goes in C. It's a fine show. It was a good time. I'm still watching it as well. There's a couple of episodes left, and I'll keep going to the end, but it's not anything sort of crazy. Let's go into a show I dropped. Your Former. This is a one I dropped that I kind of want to end up. I'd rather read the source material for. I heard this episode 1. I heard this adaptation just skipped volume 1, essentially, of the light novel. And you could tell. It was very obvious. I watched only 1 or 2 episodes before I was like, nah, I'm tapping out. This is stupid. It's it just chucks you in. But I think, and there's times when that kind of thing works in shows where they just chuck you in, and it's like, yeah, good luck, or that's the whole point, is that you're meant to be confused, and it's meant to be, and things will be revealed. But this one, it just didn't work at all. It's more so because it chucked you into this world and characters who have felt like it was established in something I hadn't seen before, and it never really brought it up, and it was just awkward. The production wasn't great, drawings were poor, directing was awkward. It just wasn't a great time, but I'm not going to hold it against it, because I've heard really good things about the light novel, so that is something I would be interested in checking out. But for this anime, yeah, I'm not interested in continuing that past 2 episodes. Let's have a look at Solo Leveling Season 2. I also finished Season 1 this year, I think. No, I finished it last year, and I didn't end up watching Season 2 until recently. I think Solo Leveling's a fun time. I think it's a show it's got 2 different extremes in the general anime fan base. People who think it's peak and the best you're going to get from anime. I mean, it won Anime of the Year last year, and it might well win Anime of the Year this year in the Crunchyroll Awards. And there's also people that think it's just complete slop as well, that kind of just disregard it completely. I think if you go into Solo Leveling knowing what you're going to get, and setting your expectations, and knowing, okay, I'm not going to get any sort of character depth or interesting complex ideas being presented here, but I am just going to get a cool fucking guy just aura farming and being cool. Like that is the show. And it is really good at building up tension and hype. It's really good at fights, obviously, and visually, I think it's a step up from Season 1 as well. Visually, it's a lot more consistent visually, and that one episode 12, is really fucking good. One of my favourites of the year. It's not a mind-blowing show by any means. But it's not bad at all either. I think Solo Leveling gets a bit too much stick from the anime community in general. But I also understand why, because there's a portion of the more casual fan base that just glaze it to high heavens when it's not anything special at all. But it's a really fun time, and I went into it kind of knowing exactly what I was going to get, and I got that. And surprisingly, I also got a dose of emotional moments as well, where we kind of got one of the main conclusions of Jinwoo's arc as well, which has been really nice. And I enjoyed Season 2 a lot. I think it was a good time. It's definitely not A or on those kind of levels, but it's a pretty good definition of a B tier show for me, like a strong 7, like a 7 out of 10, that kind of range. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be anything more, and we don't have to pretend it's anything less. I had a good time. Aura, hype moments, all that good stuff. If you want that, you're gonna get it. Let's have a look at was it One Dance or One Dance? It's one of them. This goes into job I'd want to read. I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes, and unfortunately the CGI is just garbage. And it's not only garbage because it's actually bad CGI and it looks like it's straight out of VR chat. It's also garbage because it doesn't blend in well with the scenes itself. You'll often see this 3D character really stand out, and then a 2D character. And I know Bang Dream does that as well. It's a little bit less notable, but they do it. They try to do it a bit less often. But this show Shinra does it quite a lot, and it's just jarring to look at. It's not pleasant to look at all, which is unfortunate because I think there was a bit of directing flair. I think there were the show was storyboarded quite nicely. There were moments where I was like, this is nice and quite engaging to watch. And also the general kind of premise of this guy who sort of struggles a bit socially and has a stutter, able to express himself through dance. And I also just love Yu-chan as Wanda. She's great. Any Yu-chan cast I will be there for. But I didn't want to sit through the show any longer, mainly because I didn't want to spoil myself from the manga, because the manga art looks really good. So that is something I do want to end up reading at some point, hopefully, because I have heard good things, and it's unfortunate the anime has turned out this way. But again, it is a dance show. I can't be too harsh on the anime because that is always going to be really hard to animate. I mean, most of these shows will do a dance for the opening. That'll be their main kind of animation showcase. But this show will be having dances like every episode. It's the whole point of the show. So I can't give them too much stick. But you could have got something a bit better for the CGI. Okay, let's move on to 100 meters. 100 meters. I was so lucky I got to see this in theatres. It comes out. I mean, by the time this video comes out, it will be a couple of days before it comes out on the end of the year, 31st December, digitally. But I got to see this in theatres. Man, what an experience! What a treat! What a awesome movie, man. Obviously it's written by the guy who did Orb. I suppose, is that on this list? Orb? Did I put Orb on this list? No, because I guess it is technically a 2024 anime, but the second half was particularly great. I mean, if I'm just going to a little bit of a sidetrack here, Orb would be up there in S tier, by the way. So yeah, I do think Orb is very good. 100 Meters obviously written by the guy who did Orb, and more importantly directed by Kenji Iwaisawa, I think that's his name, who did Ongaku. A cool movie. Obviously, this movie is primarily rotoscoped, but it's got super strong drawings. It's a super strong feel and like visual personality and soul to it. It's just something that really makes you happy to be part of this medium to watch. It's that kind of show, movie. Sorry, and even it even gets some of the philosophical stuff that we get from Orb in the show as well. Why we run. What our motivations are for running, leaving it all in that 100-meter race, and the ending. Oh my god, the ending is so perfect. Oh man, the music as well. It's just electrifying. Oh. Amazing movie. If it wasn't for another movie on this list, this would be movie of the year. But for now, it is an S tier. Man. I really can't wait to rewatch this when it comes out on digital, because it was just an amazing experience. I really had such a good time with 100 Meters. I implore everyone to go and watch Ongaku, Kenji Iwaisawa's other work, and then watch this as well when it comes out, because I can get, it's such a good time, and the rotoscoping, the visual art style, the directing, it's all so unique and fresh. There's really nothing like it that I've ever seen anyway, and yeah, there'll be new Kenji Iwaisawa stuff coming out soon, hopefully with Hana. But yeah, we'll see regarding that. Let's do Uma Musume Cinderella Grey. I've only put one. Oh no, I have got two. I got season 1 and season 2 here. Both of these go in S for me. Oh, no. Season 2 hasn't finished yet. Season 1 goes in A. I've read the manga for Cinderella Grey. I'm a big fan of Uma Musume. I've been caught up on this manga for a while now. The anime has really impressed me, honestly. I'm kind of surprised at how good it's been for. It's managed to going to be pumping out 2 cores of anime in 1 year, and it's able to look this good. And it's not like the show has an awful lot amount of animation. It doesn't. There's definitely times where it relies on stills, but it's never really a problem. There's sometimes in races where it can hold itself back a bit because of that production issues, but for the most part, it's really carried by its direction, and it has a really different feel to anything else in Uma Musume anime-wise, which is great. It really captures what the manga, the sort of feel and the environment and atmosphere of the manga that it was portraying in the manga, and I was really impressed by in this in general, and I think season 2 could well be in S. I'm just going to put them together here and like at the top of A, but yeah, Arama Keenan is just about to finish. I'm recording this like mid-December, so there'll be some shows that I haven't finished, like this one. It would have been finished by the time this come out, but man, the stuff in this season is really good. It's cool because I've read the manga, but I've been keeping up with it for ongoing for like years now, So these kind of earlier parts I don't remember as much of, so it's kind of nice to almost go into it completely fresh. Season 3 will be coming, or season 2 will be coming out, because it's part 1 and part 2 this is, and that's going to be adapting some of my favourite stuff. I'm really excited for that. But yeah, Uma Musume Sing Great, a really fantastic entry point to Uma Musume as well. I think it's a really good starting point for people who aren't familiar with the series. I think it's also the most well structured of all the Uma Musume anime. It feels very cohesive and flows really well. The pacing's really, really good. I think that's what Uma Musume Pretty Derby can struggle with, is the pacing and sort of general flow and writing, and the scene to scene, moment to moment flow can be a bit poor. Sing Gray excels at that. It feels like it's a very strong, well structured show, and yeah, it has its hype moments and aura as well, of course, as Uma Musume does. Let's have a look at City, the animation. This is going to be pretty... People are probably going to fucking kill me for putting this alongside Solo Leveling. It's above Solo Leveling, don't get me wrong, season 2. But City's production is out of this world. It's one of the best looking shows you'll ever see. I've got a video talking about it on my summer season review, so if you want more in-depth thoughts, go and watch that. KyoAni, obviously, incredible production. It's just the comedy is a bit hit or miss. It can be incredibly funny, but it can also just be incredibly kind of mind-numbing, and there are certain episodes that feel like they go on forever. It doesn't help that a lot of the episodes are 30 minutes long, and if it isn't hitting for you, if there's a skit and it's not working, it doesn't work at all. It's very hit or miss, and it makes the episodes can drag quite often, but I can't bring myself to put it any lower than that because of its production values and how ridiculously good it looks, especially for a show in 2025. It's mind-blowing how good this show looks. It's definitely worth watching, because if the comedy works for you, really hits for you, it'll be one of your favourite shows you'll ever see, I can promise you that. So yeah, that's City the Animation. Good show. Had a good time with it. Very, very glad I watched it. Let's move on to Rock His Lady's Modesty. Unfortunately, I didn't like this at all, really. I think it's one of the worst shows of this year. I did finish it as well, and I was pretty excited for it going into it. It's a girls' band show, Yuri, but I was watching this off the back of Ave Mujica, and it's not that I had high expectations, or I kind of did, but I wasn't fully aware of what sort of the premise was, and I just think the comedy is terrible. The whole shouting and just swearing at each other, and that's that's the comedy. It's just it's just eye rolling at times, and really corny a lot of the time as well. I don't think the music's that exciting. It can look great. There's some really cool CG parts where they have effects and they go into some 2D, some really strong drawings. It can be cool, but it also doesn't help that the general drama is just really amateurish and generic, especially that stretch towards the end. They were teasing with some cool things with the family and the mother. Never got into them in this season. And then we just got some really fucking generic band v band bullshit in the final stretch that I was just like, I'm so done with this show now. It goes below Turkey for me because Turkey is a little bit more ambitious, and I kind of respect it more for that. Where this just felt, I was really disappointed with this. And there's a part of me that should have seen it coming. I should have watched the trailers and sort of understood a bit more what exactly the show was, but still, man, it just wasn't great. I was just really disappointed with it. Let's move on to a show that I wasn't disappointed with, which is Ninkoro, which came out in spring. I had a really good time with this. It's high B, low A. I'm going to put it in high B, like a total 8 out of 10 kind of range. I had a really, really fun time with this. I was really, really surprised. This is by Shaft as well. Obviously, Shaft these days aren't quite what they were, but this show, there's certain episodes that really show that, like, some of these guys still got it. And what I was really happy with the most was that the comedy consistently hit. The comedy consistently worked for me with Ninkoro, and it had a really good, heartwarming core to it as well. There was a good centre story, a good just kind of found family theming around it as well. And I was just really surprised by this in general. I was like, this is a great show. I could very much put this in A. If I kind of on a different day, I definitely would put this in A. But yeah, this was a great time. Comedy anime for me don't usually work. I'm not that big on comedy anime. I'm much more of a guy who prefers drama that also knows how to do comedy. Like what I've just been watching, Chihei Afaru is a really good example of that. But Ninkoro is like purely comedy, and there is some drama in it for sure, but it's also just ridiculous comedy as well. And I kind of want to go on to another show from that season. I talked about this show in my spring review as well, and I kind of want to go on to another show in this season that's a little bit similar in terms of that it has just ridiculous comedy, and that's Apocalypse Hotel, and that's going in A for me. That's one of the best original anime, I think, of recent years. Please go and watch Apocalypse Hotel. It's got great production values, a really unique art style, a unique concept, episodic sort of vibes, and a really funny protagonist with a great voice actor. Really put on one of my favourite performances of this year for sure. Apocalypse Hotel is just such a good show. I can't recommend it enough. It balances comedy and serious moments extremely well. It's really good at doing a sort of be intentionally jarring, but it also working. It's really cool what it does with Yachio, and it kind of disconnect from humanity and the aliens that she ends up caring for at the hotel. Again, this was a show I was really anticipating, and it really lived up to expectations. I can't recommend this enough. Just go watch it. I don't want to yap on too much about it and spoil what goes on in it, because it's definitely worth watching. One of the best original anime of recent years, like I mentioned, for sure. Okay, let's go into a bit of a middle of the road show. Kaoru Hana, the fragrant flower blooms with dignity. That's a low B for me. I've read the manga for this as well, and I think the adaptation for the most part is a bit just meh. It's a bit it's not particularly ambitious. It doesn't particularly try and elevate scenes or do anything different from the manga for the most part. It's just a very run-of-the-mill rom-com adaptation. Well, not rom-com, it's more drama, I suppose, than a comedy. And I think a lot of problems that these sort of adaptations have is their moment-to-moment pacing is a bit poor. The character interactions can often come off a little bit awkward. The dialogue can not feel very natural. I think Kaoru Hana can suffer from that a bit at the anime, but for the most part it's a good time. It's a pretty show, drawings are strong, and I don't think this part of the source material, or in the source material in general, is anything crazy, but it's just super sweet and wholesome and nice. It's just something you can kind of go into reading and being like, yeah, I know I'm going to kind of come away from this feeling good and smiling. And the anime gives you that same sort of vibes as well. There are some particularly great episodes. I think episode 5, the whole episode between Karuko and Subaru is really strong. There's some really strong directional choices, lighting choices. They really elevated that part of the manga for me, but for the most part, the rest of it wasn't that great. I want to say not that great. It's never bad. It's always like okay to good. It's always in that kind of range. That's why it's low B, kind of high C range. But for me, the manga is just better. The manga drawings are super strong. They kind of give a bit of like an old school shoujo vibe with how detailed and dramatic the drawings are. So for now, I would definitely recommend the manga over the anime for The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. Let's look at something else that I finished. Mono, I think, was a little bit disappointing. It goes high C because it's not a bad show at all, but it just left me a bit, like, it kind of markets itself and starts off and kind of builds a premise that it's going to be a show about photography and videography, cameras, that kind of thing. And I think we probably do that for like 3 episodes max, maybe. And the rest is just them kind of fucking around. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. But I think if that was what I was expecting from the start, I would have enjoyed this more. But the show didn't manage my expectations very well. Despite that, they just had a lot of staff from Yamada Suzume involved in it. So the drawings, the animation, the backgrounds, the layouts, everything stunning. Incredibly good looking show. On that similar sort of vibe of City, and that is a really good looking show, kind of let down a bit by the content itself, but it's still a good time. And I'm thinking C feels a bit harsh for it here. I feel like if I'm putting Karuhana in B, it should also be in C. There feels like there should be a letter in between B and C, but there just isn't, because that's not how the alphabet works. It feels harsh putting that in C. Nah, I can't remember all that much from it. It was a bit forgettable, despite its good visuals. So yeah, Mono was a little bit disappointing, but still a nice show, I think. And if you go into it not expecting it, just kind of expecting them to abandon the camera premise and that whole thing that they were doing at the start, you might enjoy it a bit more. Let's have a look at Gundam G Cux, whatever the fuck you say, however the fuck you say it, G Quacks. G Cux is what I like to call it, because it's not that great. It's and I need to clarify here that I have not watched the Gundam this is like following on from before. I can't remember exactly what Gundam is it. I think it's like the original Mobile Suit Gundam mainline series. I've seen War in the Pocket, obviously The Witch from Mercury. There's another one, and then there's also Tournay. Tournay is amazing, fantastic, one of the best shows I've ever seen. But watching this without any prior knowledge to Gundam wasn't a great experience. I'm going to put it near the top of D just because visually it's incredibly strong. It's got such a good aesthetic. It's just like wow, but the content, what it is, it's just not great. And I was so disappointed in general with how this came out, especially because it was marketed as a Gundam that anyone can sort of watch. But the new characters that we get, obviously the red-haired girl, I forgot her name, Machu, and the black-haired girl, or the dark blue-haired girl, I forgot her name as well. They were bad characters, man. I did not like their characters in the end, unfortunately. And it's a shame, because they had such great designs. The rest of the cast have really strong designs as well. And yeah, I just didn't have a good time with this, unfortunately. And partly because I'm not familiar with Gundam, but partly because I don't think it's a very well written show, and I think it's relying a lot on the nostalgia and the look. We've got Shah in our show, and this is stuff from old Gundam. It's like, okay, give it a rest. Can you just write a good normal show? But no, they can't. But visually, just so strong. Obviously, there's a lot of talented people working on this. But alas, it is what it is. Let's go on to a show that I dropped, and I didn't like. Silent Witch, unfortunately, is one of them. I did read the light novel for this. Well, I've read like the first half of volume 1. It was very boring, very plain, very generic, not very well written. The prose in particular was very plain. The anime is a bit nicer, it's a bit pretty, but I was also reminded of just how much I didn't really like the light novel and how generic it gets pretty quickly, despite having quite a cool premise at the start of it. but it falls into a lot of just the general tropes that we get with these kind of fantasy shows. So I just kind of dropped it. I don't think it's bad by any means. I just think it's boring and just not really worth my time. So I haven't got much else really to say regarding that. I don't think there's any other. Oh no, there is a few. This one wasn't great. I forgot what it's called. It was fine. I say wasn't great. Wasn't great is a bit harsh. Let me just find the name of it. I think it kind of falls short because the production isn't very strong at all. So it just ended up becoming really. It wasn't very pretty to look at, and it had to be a show that was pretty to look at to work. But unfortunately, it doesn't. So that's it. It's called Zatsutabi. That's Journey. And it's got a good premise. I think the first episode was very pleasant, nice to watch, and then I just kind of realised that visually is not it at all. And this show I think needs to be pretty to work, but it's not, unfortunately. But it's a pleasant show. I don't have anything really offensive to say about it. It didn't make me feel very strong negatively. It's just a bit boring, and if you're going to be boring, at least be pretty to look at. So yeah, there's some shows I dropped. Let's get back onto some stuff I really liked, like The Summer Hikaru Died. Straight easy A. I think it's around higher is yeah. The Summer Hikaru, one of the strongest shows this season. I obviously react to it on my channel. If you want more thoughts, episode to episode, go watch those reactions. I even talked about it a bit in my summer recap video. Yeah, this one I had high expectations for. They were met, and then some. Visually, really strong, unique. Just a fantastic show around. I don't have anything negative to say about it. And we'll be there for season 2. That's what I've got to say, pretty much. If you want more thoughts on that, go watch my reactions to it, where I yap on quite a lot about it. Okay, let's do a movie next. Let's look at Cocoon. One of the earlier movies I watched this year, and it's S tier for sure. I'm not going to talk too much about what this movie is about. You should go watch it. It's under an hour long. It's very Ghibli-esque in its style. Has some incredible visual direction choices as well. A really strong, heartfelt story. And in general, it's a really underrated movie that I just haven't seen people talk about at all this year. Unfortunately, I think it's one of the strongest shows or strongest anime to come out this year. But it's just kind of slipped under the radar of most people, given I don't think it sort of had any sort of official streaming service it was on. But my God, made me bawl. Incredibly beautiful, incredibly profound and impactful and meaningful. Just go watch it, and you'll kind of see for yourself. You'll get it pretty soon on into the movie, just how beautiful that movie was and how kind of unfortunate it is that no one's really talking about it. And from the S tier, let's move down to the bottom tier with Lazarus. Yeah. Lazarus was something. Obviously the new hit show from famous director, is it Watanabe? I'm pretty sure. Obviously Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo as well, I think. I haven't seen that though. Wow, look at the poster. It looks just like Cowboy Bebop, and the protagonist is cool and nonchalant like Cowboy Bebop, and it's got nothing going for it. Unlike Cowboy Bebop, it's one of the most pointless, boring, meaningless, directionless shows I've ever seen. It has a cool premise. It has some very cool action sequences, some cool music as well. And that is it. As far as the story and characters go, it is paper thin. that is honestly offensive to paper to call it that thin, because there is absolutely nothing going on there character-wise. The climax, the conclusion is embarrassing. It's downright offensive. It's one of those kind of, it's that bad, it's like, it pissed me off. That kind of level of show. Just don't watch it. Like, don't waste your time on it. Just go and watch Cowboy Bebop again. Like, you don't want this cheap copy that's trying to imitate something that you're not going to be able to imitate. It's just fucking bad, man. I don't want to talk about it anymore because it pissed me off. Let's talk about something a bit more positive, like Survivor Utility. Really fun time with this one. Top of B for sure. Just a cool. This was out at the same time as Mujika, so had some competition to keep my attention every week. But it was I had a really fun time with this. Really slick visuals, clean art style, like great lighting and colouring, and strong drawings throughout. And it's a trio of characters that ended up becoming a four of characters, or quadrant of characters. That was super fun. A super great dynamic. Golf is cool. It's like you got Birdie Wing, which is the most dramatic sort of golf you can get, and then you got this Survival Utility, which is a much more quiet, chill show that has its funny moments as well. It can definitely lean into comedy a bit, but it also has some incredibly heartfelt moments that really caught me off guard. Like, there was a lot of the time where I was like, kind of having a good time watching the show, and all of a sudden they said something that just hit me. It was super relatable. I was like, oh my god! And all of a sudden I was tearing up, and I was like, yeah, this show, it just gets it. It understands how to balance that seriousness with just a light-hearted fun of just watching these three cute girls play golf. And the shows that know how to do that balance, cute girls doing cute things with profound and relatable statements, are the best. So yeah, that's a high B for me. I had a really great time with this one. Let's have a look at Dandadan Season 2. I'm not the biggest fan of Dandadan, unfortunately. I was keeping up with the manga for a while, up until like chapter 50, around there, and I just wasn't enjoying it that much. I still tapped into the anime because I thought visually it looked cool. It for sure looks cool at times. I think also it can also look quite bad at times. It gets a lot of stick from Sakuga fans and kind of way too much praise from casual fans. It's not a bad looking show overall, but it's certainly not anything groundbreaking. It's definitely got some incredible moments and scenes. I mean, episode 7 of season 1, one of the best episodes ever, to be honest. But season 2 was just consistently meh and very forgettable. Honestly, if you ask me now what happened in each episode, I wouldn't really be able to tell you apart from a general gist. I think it's better than no, it's not. Dandadan, it's not really for me. I don't think the comedy is very good at all. I think it's way more generic than people give it credit for. It comes across as a lot more quirky and cool on the surface, but in the reality of it isn't that special at all, unfortunately. So yeah, I probably won't be continuing with Dandadan going forward, the anime. That's it for me regarding that show. Let's go on to something I'm watching right now. Still ongoing, a few more episodes left as I'm recording this. Sander. Sander is a great time. I'm putting that in A. Really surprisingly amazing. I was tempted to kind of make a video on this, but I just haven't got around to it. Maybe when it ends in the new year I might look into doing that, because it definitely gives me a lot of Chainsaw Man vibes with how it sort of portrays adulthood and childhood as well. In contrast, it's world building and strong. Like it has a lot to say about society in a memey way, if I can say it like that. But it's really cool. It's a really cool show. It's visually distinct. Has great directing, animation, striking visuals. It's by the Beastars author, if you didn't know. So you're going to get that sort of world building, that aspect of it, alongside a cast of really engaging characters that lots of layers to them. They're not perfect characters at all, very flawed. And like I said before, it gives me Chainsaw Man vibes, and I can't quite put my finger on why. It's kind of got that bombasticness to it, but also that very grounded realism and that yearning factor, I suppose, if that makes sense. It's not something very tangible that I'm able to explain why I think this show is similar to Chainsaw Man. It's more of a vibes-based thing, but I'm having a really good time with it, and I'm looking forward to this final stretch and to see how it finishes. And I probably will end up reading the manga if nothing gets announced as it's going forward. It's by Silent Saru as well, same studio as Dandadan. If you ask me, this show looks better than Dandadan, but a lot of people will probably get upset at that. But regardless, it was great. I had a good time with it. As I look at some shorts, just so I can kind of get them in the tier list. The Licorice Recoil shorts. They were good fun. They were really good fun, actually. The Licorice Recoil shorts kind of thrived on what the show was actually really good at originally, in that it's the slice of life, shenanigans, bullshit, just the fun they have outside of the action and them trying to build tension and kind of weave together a real sort of plot and storyline, which isn't something that they were very good at, but this side is the best part of it. I want to give a shout out to Ban, or Ban, I don't know how to say it, but this is obviously Gigguk's anime. I didn't enjoy it that much, but I can't bring myself to think of it in a bad way at all. I can't really bring myself to say anything that strongly about it, positively or negatively, but just kind of seeing this exists is awesome. Just seeing this come to fruition is really cool. It's quite inspiring, honestly, and while I didn't enjoy that much, I just have massive respect for Gigguk for putting this out and managing to fucking make an anime as an anime YouTuber. Like, what? That's so cool. So yeah, Ban is a very cool piece there, regardless of its actual quality. Yeah. Let's have a look at an anthology. Star Wars Visions. That unfortunately is going in D. I think it goes to the top of D because it has a couple of good episodes. It has Trigger's episode, which is pleasant. It has Kinema Citrus's episode, which is also quite pleasant and good. That one's particularly good. I think that's the second best one. And then the rest are very boring, very bland. Visual is not great. Nothing much going on. A lot of these are very thinly written and very poorly written. And then you have the final episode by David Production, obviously with, is it Ohira? It's that animator where it's like, it's the meme of the guy in the cinema. He's like talking to the girlfriend. He's like, "This is animated by Shinya Ohira," and that episode is the final one in the anthology. Bro, go and download this Star Wars Visions Volume 3. Just watch the final episode. It's just mind-blowing visually, just ridiculous. Probably the best looking, not probably, it is the best looking episode of anime this year for sure, no doubt. Just go, seriously, it's only like 10 minutes long. Go watch it. Also, conceptually, what it was trying to do was very fucking cool as well. I don't want to kind of spoil what it was going for with that episode, but it worked. It really worked, and the visual style worked alongside with it. Just an incredible piece to kind of just randomly drop out of nowhere and have this much quality to it. So I can't put it bottom of D because it has that episode, which is one of the best episodes I've ever seen, but the rest of it just isn't that great and very forgettable. So unfortunately it is quite low there. Let's grab something good again. Let's grab something I enjoyed very much, so like Mononoke. It's the fiery rat one, Rage of Fires, something like that. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's the second movie in the Mononoke movies. Incredible. I think the first movie was great for this trilogy. I know the third one is coming out next year, but this one was particularly strong and really emotional as well, and it builds the characters really well. I think what Mononoke does really, really well is build tension in individual scenes and build a really strong feeling of unease with its really snappy, quick directing. It will just kind of snap to a shot of like this just really weird looking visuals, and it will just be super dynamic the way it switches between characters, super fast dialogue. You have to be engaged in this to understand what's going on, but it really builds up to a really strong storyline and a really strong climax. I was really impressed with this, and I'm really excited to see how the trilogy tops off. I was a big fan of the original Mononoke series and movie 1, but this is the best stuff to come out of the series so far, for sure. Both visually and narratively, it really peaks here. I can't recommend this enough. Obviously, go and watch the original Mononoke, and then movie 1, and then this movie as well. That goes into S, one of the best things from this year. Okay, let's go with... a lot of people are going to be mad at me for this one as well. Apothecary Diary Season 2. Unfortunately, it's just not my thing. I think DT is a bit harsh. It's going at the bottom of C. But I've just kind of gotten I'm just a bit over this show now. It doesn't help that it's really pushing Jinshi and Mao Mao, because I don't like that ship at all. I think the stuff with the princess, I can't remember her name, or the person feigning as the princess, or feigning as Mao Mao's friend as well, that was quite enjoyable. There were some good episodes here and there, but for the most part, I haven't really got anything that positive to say. I kind of realised that this is definitely the most enjoyable. This is the most enjoyable out of these. So I don't know why it's in the middle there. But yeah, and unfortunately, Apothecary Diary is not really my thing. It doesn't work for me. It's the setting mainly, and the sort of smart guy solves everything. Kind of, I know it's Mao Mao as a girl who's a great character. I kind of enjoy her presence a lot, but the mysteries and the setting don't do much for me at all, unfortunately. I do kind of want to continue on to something that is a little bit similar in Shoshimin Season 2. It's a very mystery heavy show with protagonists that are smart and kind of solve everything. Shoshimin Season 2 goes right up here with these guys. One of the best shows, well, the second best show of the year, to be quite frank. The way it builds on Season 1, incredible. Osanai, one of my favourite characters ever. I recently finished just rewatching the show with a friend, and my god, was the rewatch value so strong. You picked up on so many things you didn't realise while I was watching it weekly. Visually strong, sharp, cinematic, the drawings clean, super strong line work. I think I just love the kind of slickness and cleanness to it, and the cinematic feel it consistently has. If this whole thing aired in a cinema, I wouldn't kind of bat an eye, because it's that's how it looks. That's how good it looks for the most part, and the layouts and the super long shots and the sort of visual thing it does, where it brings characters outside while they're talking and brings characters to the scene of the mystery while they're talking. Really, really good stuff. Osanai in this season was a fucking menace. Oh my god, she was fucking insane. I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously, but please go watch Shoshimin Season 1 and 2 and you'll just get to experience Osanai greatness. Also voiced by the great Hina Yumiya Yuchan, the great Tomori, of course. And what a wonderful performance it was as well. So that's up there in S for sure. One of the best shows I watched this year, easily. And now let's get on to that little Pokemon short Dragonite thing. I can't remember the exact name of it. It's like a postman kind of thing. Good fun, nothing crazy. I think I put it at the top of C. It was a good time for sure. I don't have anything that I think it's B actually. No, maybe it's C. It's top of C. I had a good time with it. Little short, good visuals, very cute story. Yeah, just kind of typical Pokemon stuff. Really, I do like watching the kind of shorts and OVAs and ONAs they do put out rather than the long running series. Yeah, it's a good time. I haven't got anything really bad to say about that. Let's have a look at another movie. And there's there's 4 movies here actually. Let's look at the Demon Slayer movie. For me, it's a low B. I think I think it's yeah, it's better than Karuhana. I had a good time with this. Got to watch it in theaters, obviously. Seeing Demon Slayer on the big screen is always pleasant. I'm not the biggest Demon Slayer fan, but it's a series meant to be kind of watched in the cinema, given how just bombastic it is visually and bright and cinematic it can be. Unfortunately for this movie, obviously this is the first movie of the trilogy of the Infinity Castle arc, the final arc. The first half is poor, pacing wise, structurally wise. It feels like a bunch of episodes just strung together, unfortunately. So it just felt really kind of awkward to watch. And there were just certain fights I didn't think were that great. I think the Shinobu fight ended. I was just really disappointed with how that fight ended. The Zenitsu fight did not care at all for. But then we get onto the stuff with Tanjiro and Asuka and obviously Gyu. That fight was electric. One of the best fights I've seen. Obviously, it was super intense. The kind of fight that had you like holding onto your seat and like tensing, just not wanting to move an inch of your body, sweating because it was just that strong. And the way you can feel every punch, every movement, every kick, every swipe with a sword. I mean, that's something that Demon Slayer is really good at, is using sound and environments to really sell the weight of a fight and the weight of these punches and these strikes that they throw at each other. I think, and it works especially well with Asuka, who obviously is a hand-to-hand martial artist, and his backstory was also very good. Very typical Demon Slayer stuff, of course, but it's easy to get you emotional, and it got me emotional. I actually really like the conclusion of the fight as well. I think it was really touching. One of the strongest in Demon Slayer for sure, but the best fight for sure in the show, in the series. I think probably one of the most well-written fights as well. So I had a good time with Demon Slayer. I don't. In all, I had a good time, but it doesn't work as a movie, unfortunately, because of how poorly structured it is, and just how you can feel the executives and the money grabbing side of it being like, yeah, let's release it in 3 movies, when it doesn't make any sense to do that at all. But yeah, it was a good time. I can't be too down on it. Not too many left now. Let's go for something bad, like the Miku movie that I watched recently. Project Sekai Colorful Stage Miku movie. I don't know the fucking name of it. It's bad though. It's not good at all. I think that's a bit harsh, maybe. I don't know. It's not great. And I'm not familiar with Project Sekai at all. I'm kind of tempted to maybe react to some of their music on the channel because I do want to check out some of their stuff. But this movie was shallow, poorly written, felt incredibly generic, tried to balance way too many characters, and just felt like a sort of movie for the fans. But even for the fans of the series, it almost felt like a look, here's the character, here's a character, here's another character, here's the character you like, here's this and that, and there was just nothing going on at all narratively or character-wise. They had no interesting developments, nothing interesting about them personality-wise. They were just existing on the screen. It was really disappointing, honestly, and it didn't help that the actual Vocaloid characters in the movie, obviously from the game and from the Vocaloid itself, they were all talking in the Vocaloid voice, and it didn't sound great at all. But also visually, it's just bad for a movie, for like a movie about Miku, Project Sekai. That I was expecting some more to it, some budget, some stuff going on, but it was terrible visually, and it was a bad movie. It was just really poor in general. Just really disappointed, honestly, with that watching that, and it's kind of left a bad taste in my mouth regarding Project Sekai, but I am interested in checking out some of the music stuff for sure, because I know that's where all the good stuff is. Let's just sort of get it out the way. Ave Mujika, obviously saved my life. It's the whole reason I'm here. It's the reason I'm doing a video right now. It's the reason I have a channel. I started with doing reactions to Ave Mujika. I had a really good time. The show lived up to my expectations. I have literally hours of content on the channel of me yapping about this show, and since all that time I've been talking about it, it's aged really well, and it still is sticking with me. Of course it is, and I'm still excited for what's to come. I have nothing bad to say about it. Saved my life. Obviously, anime of the year as well. Simple as that. Don't need to sort of sugarcoat it. That is anime of the year. Simple as. Hey, let's look at maybe do a dropped one, like To Be Hero X. I dropped that and I want to revisit that for sure. I think I dropped it at the time because I was watching a few shows. I knew it was going to be going on for 2 core as well, so I was like, I don't want to kind of commit to this too heavily. So I was like, I'll drop it and then maybe come back to it if I hear good things. It also felt like the kind of show that I would benefit watching like on a binge rather than weekly. So I'm going to get back to that. I don't have too much to say about it, bad or good. It's a really hard show to judge on just the 3 episodes I watched, but I'll get back to it at some point for sure, and I'll look into maybe doing a video about it if I think it seems suitable. But yeah, I dropped it, and I do want to come back to that for sure. Then let's go on to Flower and Asura. As an adaptation, I don't think I think it's good actually. An adaptation, I'm going to put it in B, around there. I've read the manga for this. It's obviously by the Hibike author. There's some really good stuff in the manga, and and I think the anime doesn't do the drama justice. It often feels awkward or too dramatized and melodramatic. I don't like using that term, melodramatic, but it really does feel like it here. There's not enough nuance or weight to the drama here. It feels just a bit too put on and forced. But I still had a good time with it. I think it's a pretty show. The drawings are often very strong. The voice acting is very good. Thankfully, it's obviously a show about the voice broadcasting club and poetry and speaking and that kind of stuff. So the voice acting had to be good, and my god, was it! It was really good. But all in all, I had a good time with it. I don't have too many strong feelings about it either way, but it's a series I kind of liked anyway, and regardless of the adaptation quality, it was going to be something I was going to enjoy. Let's have a look at Tatsuki Fujimoto 1726. Obviously, the Tatsuki Fujimoto's one-shots. This goes at the top of B, maybe. Yeah. It was really good. Lots of visual variety. Some incredible animation, for example, in the first one. And then some incredible directing in, I've got the name of it, the Love is Blind one. Very Monogatari-esque. I know the guy who directed that did work on Monogatari. I can't remember which one exactly, but it's so Monogatari inspired and super engaging visually. For the most part, all of them are really good, the one-shots. I think the only bad one is Sasuke Stopped a Bullet. I think that's what it's called. And then the Mermaid one isn't that great either. So those two kind of bring it down a bit. But the rest I really enjoyed. And in particular, Love is Blind, one of my favourites. Super funny, really cool visually. And then the other two I really liked was it the Turn Into a Girl Syndrome, I think that's the name of it, something like that. That was great. Really enjoyed the one. And then the one that really stuck with me was Sisters, the one that felt like a look-back draft for Fujimoto. And honestly, for the short runtime it had in comparison to Look-Back's runtime, it was just as strong. That got me really emotional. I think it's incredibly good, that one-shot, that episode from this project, Sisters. it really got me, man. I can't really praise it enough. Everything in between is great as well, like Shikaku and Night of the Prophecy, and what was the other one? I think that's all of them actually. Yeah, but I had a really good time with these. Great visual variety. Fujimoto just incredibly blessed with adaptations. Obviously, there's that look back live action directed by, how's his name? Really, really good, famous Japanese director. Oh, I've forgotten his name, but I'll know it when I see it. But yeah, really cool stuff to see him directing that. But yeah, kind of want to get out one of the worst shows I've ever seen out of the way, and that's Lord of the Mysteries. Lord of Mysteries is the worst show on this list, without a doubt. It just sucks. I watched only like 2 or 3 episodes of it. Absolute rubbish. It didn't make any sense. And the thing is, the fans try and sort of justify it by being like, it's not meant to make sense, or you're just kind of meant to feel the vibes of it. And that's something that I've used before to justify a show. Sonny Boy is something where that works in Sonny Boy. It's a part of the whole theme of Sonny Boy, is that it not making sense kind of works. And even then, Sonny Boy makes sense. This doesn't at all, and I've heard bad things about the adaptation in terms of it speeds over a lot of the first like volume or chapters or whatever. It favours visual flair, which it doesn't really have. It kind of feels very pretentious visually. It tries to sort of blindside you with lens flares and super dramatic flashy visuals for things that don't need dramatic and flashy visuals. I'm just like, I'm trying to understand what's going on, and you're doing this jarring 3D shot that's poorly put together, and it just pissed me off. The show just pissed me off, unfortunately. And I don't mean any bad faith towards the fans. A lot of them are very elitist, unfortunately. A lot of people think this is like one of the best looking anime of all time. Just stop, please. Let's just not do that. It's not something I want to read. That it doesn't interest me that way. I could put it in that, because I think this is a bad adaptation for sure. I absolutely believe the fans in that, but I've just been kind of put off by that series now, and yeah, I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's not fun. It's not cool. Just a very bad anime, really poorly made. And I was going to say let's move on to another poorly made anime, but let's move on to something positive this time, like the Link Click Bryden arc. We're getting the Chinese shows out the way now. I'm going to put this in B. It's low B, I think. I think I'm going to put it like there. It's a weird arc. This technically came out in 2024. Only the first episode came out in 2024, which was like late December. All the rest of the 5 episodes, it was only 6 episodes, and all the other 5 came out in 2025. I'm not counting this as a 2024 show. Don't get it twisted. I'm not counting this. This came out this year, and it's a weird arc because it's in general very anticlimactic. Not that much happens in it, and it's just a weird arc. Like, it feels very random. I'm sure it's gonna. The thing is, when season 3 comes out, this arc's gonna probably be great on a rewatch. And funnily enough, this arc gives me very heavy hidden inventory arcs from Jujutsu Kaisen. It's that kind of nostalgic feeling, feel good slice of life arc for the most part, and I really like those vibes. As much as I think narratively it wasn't that strong and quite boring often at times, those vibes it gave off I really liked, so I forgive a lot of its pitfalls in the actual sort of storytelling areas, because it gives off hidden inventory vibes and Gojo X Ghetto vibes, which I'm a big fan of. So yeah, that goes in B. We haven't got too many shows left now. Let's do another movie. There's 2 movies left, and I would like to talk about Lost in Starlight. This is Chinese or Korean. I think it's Korean. Yeah, it's Korean. This goes in B as well. I think this goes like quite up there. I had a good time with this movie. I had a really good time with this movie. It's the musical Your Name. It's the musical Shinkai movie. If I'm comparing it to something, but it gives off heavy Makoto Shinkai vibes. If you like Makoto Shinkai, you're going to enjoy this movie for sure. I like him, so I had a good time with this. I think the two main characters are very charming, very fun, visually incredibly good, incredibly detailed, gorgeous lighting, gorgeous drawings, gorgeous music, lots and lots of strong visual flair, audio visual flair. This is something I would have loved to have seen in theatres, but alas, it's obviously not going to come out near me or in many theatres at that. And narratively, while it is relatively simple, I think it works in a similar way to a lot of Makoto Shinkai stuff. Suzume, Weathering with You, Your Name, all have very simple narratives that are like teetering on ambitious. They don't go too far with it, and they don't have too much to say with it, but end up actually working really well. And they kind of this movie knew what it wanted to be, executed it with gorgeous visuals and really great songs. The musical like theme and the strong ties to music and just sound and the way we communicate across time and the way we can communicate in different ways is cool. It's a cool theme, and it kind of held the movie together at its core. I think it's absolutely worth watching. One of the best things I watched in this year, actually, for sure. And like I said, very Your Name-esque, very Makoto Shinkai-esque. If you like those sort of stuff, definitely give this a shot. Lost in Starlight, very underrated anime. I suppose it's not technically an anime. Similar to Lord of the Mysteries and Link Click, they're not technically anime, but they're on any list, so who gives a fuck? Let's quickly then Pokemon Concierge. I really enjoyed Pokemon Concierge Season 1. This one as well was also great. I'm going to put this here. I think this is a great time. I think the great thing about this is just how comforting it is to watch, how wholesome it is, and the sort of stop motion, like knitted characters and Pokemon they kind of have. It's such a cool art style that obviously there's so much effort that's gone into it. It's just super cool to see that on the screen in these days, because you don't get that too often these days, I feel like. So a great time in Pokemon Concierge. Not too many left now. Bunny Girl Senpai Season 2. It was disappointing, unfortunately. I'm not the biggest fan of... Well, Bunny Girl Senpai is one of the sort of shows I got into quite early on in my watching anime career, and initially kind of really struck with me. And then as I watched more stuff and then came back to it, I had a bit of a worse impression of it. I still like Season 1 a lot, mainly because of Mai. Mai is an awesome character. Sakura Mai, one of the coolest characters, deserving of all the popularity she gets. The first movie wasn't great. The second movie wasn't the best. It was fine. And the third movie was actually really good and kind of gave me good hope. Not really good, it was good, but it gave me hopes for this season 2 of Bunny Girl Senpai, coming back after so long. But in general, it was disappointing. Mai barely shows up, really, kind of every now and then, and when she does, it's the best of the stuff for the show. The final arc was actually quite good, engaging, kind of built up to really well. But in general, just the new cast of characters we got were just boring and flat, and nothing interesting about them, not entertaining on screen either. And I'm not going to act like Season 1's cast of characters is this crazy, interesting, and dynamic cast of characters. They're not, but for the most part, each of them had something interesting going on. Apart from Nodoka, she was very boring. But in general, it was good, and I had a good time with Season 1. Season 2, not so much, unfortunately. I don't think it's bad. I think it's a bit mid. it's why it's in that kind of low C tier range, with nothing that impressive going for it. It's not very memorable. And something airing this season, actually, Chiramune. It's a weird one. It's still airing, so I'm not like definitive on where I'm placing this, but it just gives quite malevolent vibes, but I can't bring myself to fully hate it. It's quite pretentious. It is very much a show that is, oh, I'm 14, this is deep kind of show, which is fine. I don't have problems with those shows. I think they can be fun, is what a lot of anime is grounded in, especially these type of harem shows, light novel adaptation harem shows in particular. I think there's a place for them in anime, for sure. But it spends the first arc focusing on a guy. I'm not here for the guys, I'm here for the cute girls. I think visually it can be a bit weak. While there's some really strong directing, the drawings can often feel weird, and it can feel awkward in that department at times. I just wish it focused more heavily on the girls and the main character is just a bit of an annoying douchebag and pretentious and just really jarring to watch. I kind of understand that might be the point, but that doesn't make it any less jarring to watch. And I can't bring myself to hate it though. I don't know. It's got a charm to it, even though it has got very evil vibes, as Lennox would say, my friend on Twitter. I don't know. I'm going to put it there for now. I think that's quite generous because I don't think I'm that positively about it. But it's more memorable than Apothecary Diaries and Dan 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 for me. So it's also got one of the best openings of the year, without a doubt. And let's move on to Chainsaw Man movie. The other saved my life from this year. I got to watch in the cinema with my friend, had an amazing experience, and I came out the cinema, I instantly booked tickets to rewatch it. Did that this time in IMAX because I didn't realise it was coming out in IMAX near me. I got to rewatch it with my dad. My dad loved it. I loved it. Recently just came out on digital. Rewatched it again. Loved it. Clips circling on Twitter. Amazing. In fact, that clip, that animation of Rize dancing to Iris Out just came out. Incredible. The ending, incredible. The opening, incredible. Visually, one of the best things I've ever seen, anime-wise. One of the best. The pool sequence, incredible. The music, incredible. I don't have anything bad to say about this movie. It elevates everything in the manga for me. Rize, or Reze, however you say it, one of my favourite characters in the manga now. I'm not caught up on part 2 as well, by the way, so I was familiar with what was going to happen in this arc, but my god, this is one of the best adaptations I've ever seen, to be quite frank. Fujimoto again, he captures the heart of artists all around the world. He captures the heart of any creative. People just want to work on his stuff. Understandably so. He's an inspiring artist and inspiring creator. So yeah, that's the other Saved My Life anime. Deservedly so, up there with Avamujica. Both of these are 10 out of 10s. These are like 9.5s, and then some 9 and 8.5s going along there. Now we have 3 shows left. Takapi, I think I'm going to put it at the top of C because visually it is ridiculously good. I have no faults for it visually. The drawings are incredible, super detailed. It's episode 4 or 5 where it focuses on Azuma, the boy. That episode in particular, super strong. But it feels a bit like a lot of the stuff just kind of happens as a shock factor, and there's not as much kind of depth there as people like to admit. A lot of it just didn't really work for me narratively. And when Shizuka kind of started going off the deep end and you kind of realise she was very insane, it didn't really land for me. I couldn't really tell whether the show was trying to portray itself as a kind of realistic portrayal of abuse and domestic abuse and familial abuse and that kind of stuff, and the kind of the cycle that it I can't tell how grounded it wanted to really tell that story. And that's not because there's an alien in it that can turn back time, it's because the characters feel very unrealistic. Despite having realistic problems, they feel unrealistic. But for the most part, it was pretty entertaining. I'm a big fan of the first episode and then the episode of Azuma. The rest, not so much. I think the finale didn't work for me either. But the show looked amazing. Visually, such a treat on the eyes, even if the content you actually were looking at wasn't quite the treat on the eyes. But you know what I mean. It looks amazing. I can't bring myself to put it too low because of that. But I also think it is incredibly overrated in general by the fan base. I think it's one of those shows that appears to be more mature than it actually is, and just because it's portraying dark topics doesn't mean that it's good. A lot of people do just associate anything dark and mature with good, and that isn't the case, and here it is as well. It's fine. It's a fine show. I don't have too much bad to say about it. And then let's do This Monster Wants to Eat Me. I can't remember the name exactly. I'm caught up on the manga for this, and I don't think the adaptation is that great. I think it's fine. I think it draws itself out a bit too much and feels a bit too melancholic and depressing. I do like those vibes, but it leans into it way too much, I think, and in general doesn't really end up working for me, so I just kind of dropped it in episode 2. So I was like, I'm just going to keep reading the manga, because the manga art's really, really good. And yeah, it was a bit disappointing, really, this adaptation, given how kind of it's one of the more popular Yuris in that sort of scene, but people are enjoying it for the most part, and I think the manga's better, but I also think the voice casting for the main character, is it Shizuka? I can't remember her name exactly. No, that's Tagapi. But the main Reino Raida, funnily enough, has the best performance of the year with Rize and Chainsaw Man, but also I think one of the worst performances of the year with her character here, and it's mainly due to the voice kind of directing and casting. Didn't work for me at all. But yeah, whatever. I'll just read the manga. It's no big deal. And then Call of the Night Season 2 to finish off. Really, 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 really good time with this. Surprisingly so. This goes in A. I think I'm going to put it above these two. Oh, maybe. It's along that Umumusume Hikaru and Dress Up Darling level for me. Super a big jump from Season 1. The way it handles all these backstories is really good. There's a whole segment towards like the first episode, like 4 to 6, that it's just wow, and it got me so emotional every episode. It really moved me so heavily. Really relatable stuff. The climax was great, visually great. It's one of those shows that while it doesn't have a lot moving for it, it's good with the direction and the dynamicness of it, and the way the conversations flow and the characters interact. It all just works really well. I had a great time with this. I'm going in blind, having not read the manga as well. People were gassing this up, and yeah, it met my expectations for sure. Definitely one of the better shows I watched this year. But yeah, this is the list. I don't think I want to move anything, looking at it now. The thing is, a lot of these C and B, I feel like I could even like the top of B into A, the bottom of B into C, I feel interchangeable to me. I could, depending on the day, move these around, but this is just what I'm feeling now. What's most important is kind of B, high B and above. Anything from Ninkoro above is like my favourite stuff of the year, like this whole section here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this list. Is there anything you disagree with me on? Is there anything that you agree with me on? I want to hear your opinions on any of these shows you might feel passionately about one way or another, or if there's just some stuff I said that you just straight up disagree with, or actually fucking find disrespectful and you hate. Do argue with me in the comments. Send me death threats and everything like that. Please do. I want to. I want to talk about this stuff politely, hopefully in a normal manner. But I know some people can get, especially with certain shows on this list as well. So hopefully it doesn't reach some of the more passionate fans for the shows I kind of slandered a bit here. But alas, it might. Who cares really? I want to discuss these shows with any of you guys that are interested in. So do leave your comments and thoughts on both my list and the shows. It was a great year for anime overall. Really great year. Much better than last year. I think there were some highlights last year, like Hibike and The Life of the Stepsister show, and there was some other stuff as well, some good movies like Kimi no Iro, which I only actually ended up watching this year because it only came out digitally this year. But this year, for 2025, really, really strong year. Like this section here, really, really, really strong, impressive stuff, and a good range of stuff here as well. There's really kind of something for everyone here. I thank you guys so much for watching. If you are still here and are still watching, I hope you guys have had a good Christmas. I hope you guys have a good New Year at that as well, and I hope to see you on the channel more next year and wherever we go next year and whatever we do end up doing next year. I hope you're there. I hope you're here for the 2026 tier list we end up doing at the end of the year. I might even do a little list for shows I'm excited for 2026, and then maybe we can kind of come back and look at that and be like, oh, that was shit, and that was actually really, really good, kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you've had a good year, and I hope you have another good year in 2026. See you guys later.